Hey guys, we're back with the next episode of Sryth Fantasy Text-Based RPG. Last time we were in the Cave of Mist. Apparently we were on the 10th level, so I'm back there, here right now. Thanks so much for hanging out and joining me. Let's just go. So I don't know how many levels this thing has. But I guess we're gonna find out, huh? I hope everybody's day's going great. Thanks for hanging out with me. Appreciate all the comments that I get on these. I don't know that I have the stuff I need right now. I think I don't. I'm just taking a nice look, see about. Cute. Every time I see plate stuff, I always think of Fable. I gotta figure out how to play Fable 2 on my channel, because I played the first one. Everything I need and more, it's written all over your face. Wow, we're getting real good loot around here. You suddenly draw to a halt as a powerful sense of dread washes over you. In nearly a minute, the fear begins to fade. After nearly a minute, the fear begins to fade, and you cautiously resume your exploration along the passage. Yes. Quick search through the pile of bones from which skeleton emerged reveals the following. A twisted iron chunk. As you step past the remains of the undead, your eyes are drawn to a small piece of twisted iron laying next to the skeleton's outreached hand. You promptly take possession of the curious item. Having secured the chunk of iron amongst your belongings, you set off again into the gloom. In the whole of the layer's 10th layer are strewn heaps of bones. The outline of an eyeless skull is etched into the floor here. So it's been about 7 days since I've been in here and playing this, so I may not remember right away what all we're doing. I never get to collect 2 of the twisted metal things. Twisted iron chunk. And then we take that somewhere. Then we look at the skull. So yeah, we use the chunks here, twisted metal. You place both twisted chunks of iron into the glowing bowl set atop the ornate brazier and watch as the metal instantly begins to soften and bend. Within minutes, the piece of iron is melted into a writhing, bubbling mass at the center of the bowl. A brilliant burst of white light erupts from the brazier, forcing you to turn your head and shut your eyes. Seconds later, when a dazzling glow departs, you turn back to find the glowing bowl atop the ornate pedestal is again empty. Affixed to the wall behind the brazier is a curious and somewhat sinister iron design. And then from there, I think we have to go to the skull on the wall. It's busy in here. Which I think is here. No, that's the door. I'm gonna have to go through. The skull's the other one. Can I walk 2 feet? Jeez! No, apparently not. Some good moolah in here though. This is not the skull. That's the glyph where we started. What's a skull? Oh, this must be it. Metal bowl. No, this is the skull. What the flip? I obviously don't remember this right. Oh, here it is up here. A low, long hiss from behind you sends you pulse racing. Instinctively you spin around and draw yourself into a combat-ready stance, prepared to face the source of the unnerving sound. The robed skeleton, its bone face concealed behind an ornate wooden mask, steps out into the shadows and immediately advances on you. The vicious undead terror, its fleshless fingers gripping the hilt of a long-bladed dagger, hisses savagely as it swiftly closes in. Amidst the remains, you discover 2 items of interest. Banging distant but unmistakable clangor of the slamming door sounds in some far-off corner of the grim lab. And in the minute you stand perfectly still listening intently, but no further noises reach your ears. With your every sense on edge, you again resume your exploration in the shadowy passages. So now, we can go through the door. Up at the door, Jenny. You grasp the iron ring and give it a mighty tug. With a reverberating groan, the heavy slab begins to slowly turn outward. You step back and watch as the door of its own momentum continues to slowly swing open, its resonating groans echoing along the gloomy corridor. After several moments, the door screeches to a stop, having fully revealed the broad arches, concealing beyond the arch a set of stone steps spirals down into darkness. Descend. With your dependable light source parching the gloom, you cautiously make your way down the spiraling stair, taking care to not lose your footing on well-worn slabs. At last, after descending nearly 200 steps, you reach the foot of the stair and step into a broad landing. Directly before you, on the far side of the landing, rises a tall stone arch. Staring at the arch, you see nothing but a pall of impenetrable gloom. Step to the arch. Headed for the stone arch, you thrust your reliable light source and attempt to pierce the veil of darkness that fills the broad opening. The glow of your light is utterly devoid of thick, unnatural gloom. Step through. Holding your reliable light source out before you, despite its inability to pierce the darkness, you bravely step between the arch and slowly advance into the pall of darkness. Wow, really? I was at the end and didn't finish? That sucks. You've taken less than a dozen steps into the dark, with the deep gloom surrounding you suddenly melts away, revealing a cavernous stone chamber at the center of which rises a tiered plinth. Glancing back, you are unnerved to discover the arch to which you just passed is no longer there. Even more unsettling is the fact that there doesn't seem to be any identifiable exit from the chamber. A soft hiss drifts through the chamber, originating from somewhere near the tiered dais. A second hiss mingled with the sound of metal scraping on stone reaches your ears. Another hiss, long and low, echoes through the chamber as a solitary figure, bone-clad in a suit of rusted chains, steps into the top of the dais. The lone skeleton stands atop the dais, his rusted chain suit rattling as his fleshless form shifts, pivots as it appears to slowly survey the entire chamber. The undead creature's right hand grips the hilt of the massive sword, the blade of which drags along at its iron-clad feet. Suddenly, the armored skeleton turns its head in your direction and begins to slowly descend from its lofty perch. A powerful aura of fear seems to surround the undead horror, for as it reaches the foot of the dais, a wave of terror washes over you. You manage to resist the sudden urge to turn and flee where? There's no door. Instead, choosing to draw yourself into a combat-ready stance as the skeleton starts to cross the room towards you. Suddenly, the armored skeleton halts its advance, raises its sword to the blade is pointed at the domed ceiling far overhead. The sharp crackle of energy fills the air, and thin tines of blue and yellow energy streak down out of the top of it and weave themselves around both the sword and the wielder's fleshless arm. With a deafening crack, a broad arc of lightning makes sure the blade is straight towards you. Its visceral brilliance momentarily illuminating the entirety of the cavernous space. Gating. You channel all your power of gating and swirling black fall to appears in front of you. Without a second thought, you hurl yourself into the magical gate, dodging the lightning and stumbling over a second portal split almost directly in front of your armored undead foe. A cursed bone lord, alright. The armored skeleton hisses and swipes out at you with its massive sword, forcing you to retreat several steps after the dodging blow. With your every thought now bent on defeating this undead fiend, you plant your feet and assume a defensive stance as a gruesome skeletal warrior again closes in. Ooh. The armored skeleton emits a long, ragged hiss as it collapses into a heap of shattered bone. As you step back from the remains of the long dead warrior, you gasp and chuckle as the creature's bones begin to slowly pull themselves back together. That's what I'm saying. It's the skeleton warrior. What kills it? It's already fleshless, dead. You come to a horrifying realization that the skeleton is attempting to reform itself. Without a second thought, you step forward and attack the moving heap of bone, determined to prevent the skeleton from ever again rising. I mean, you gotta put all the bones somewhere, I guess. Stare down in horror as a heap of bones begins to quiver as the skeletal remain again attempt to reform. Gonna get some rejuvenation? No. Your final blow shatters what remains of the heap of bones into countless fragments that settle on the floor at your feet. Standing sharply, you step back and survey the chamber as a disquieting sound of faint rubble reaches your ears. Suddenly, a reverberating groan echoes throughout the chamber as the floor beneath you feet violently shudders. Large chunks of stone begins dropping from the arched ceiling high above the massive piece of rock and slam down all around you, their fists and bulking crater in the floor. Suddenly, a pulsing hum mingles the sound of the crashing stone as a swung back portal appears at the foot of the stairs. Now with the apparent exit, you immediately realize the portal may be your only chance of escaping. Well, let's search the bones. Toward the bottom of the heap of bones, you discover a small stone symbol carved to resemble an owl. You recognize the strange piece as a symbol of the ancient Ryorcilian religious order known as the Brother of the Shattered Stars. Your hand closes around the symbol and all sensation washes over you. Yay, my stamina has permanently increased. Nice. Almost as soon as the feeling begins to fade, a tingling sensation passes through you. Suddenly, the massive chunk of stone smashes into the floor only a few feet away from where you stand. Realizing you no longer can afford to delay your escape, you rush across the chamber toward the portal as massive chunks of stone from the arched ceiling continue to rain down throughout the chamber. Oof. Got me. We gotta get out of here. Okay. Apparently we can't leave. I need to be greater than 100, please. Twisting to your right, narrowly dodging a massive chunk of falling stone, you stumble forward and draw to the churning vortex, hoping and praying that the magical gate will take you safely out of this lair of horror. As you move forward, preparing to step into the portal, a low, ominous hiss emerges from the gate's inky core. A pair of black armored skeletons, their hollow eye sockets emitting a faint reddish glow, emerge from the portal, brandishing a flame-wreathed swords. The gruesome undead pair is now blocking your path to the portal as the chamber continues to collapse around you, hissing wildly, oblivious of the peril from above. The grim warriors move into attack. What item? I'm trying to think of something. Chest of the owl thing? I don't think I do. Hey, I do. You hasten to produce the stone owl symbol you discovered amidst the remains of the armored skeleton and hold it toward the advancing undead. Without warning, the symbol suddenly vibrates, crumbling into small fragments that lands at your feet. White glow washes over the skeletal warriors. The two fiends, their jaws stretched wide, unleash a chorus of ghastly shrieks as they immediately collapse into heaps of fragmented bone. No time to dwell on the startling turn of events. You bound over their remains and leap into the churning maw of the portal. The instant you enter the portal, you're tumbling at a frightening velocity through the frigid, lightless void. Terrifying descent continues for nearly a minute until a soft voice substance to your thoughts, a gentle sound, swiftly belaying your growing fear. You will return to the light. This darkness will lift. The instant the voice fades, the darkness around you vanishes, and you discover, much to your astonishment, that you're once more standing in the forest directly before the mouth of the cave. After a fleeting moment, you feel as if a lurking malevolence is close at hand, observing your every move, but as quickly as unsettling feeling takes form, it fades, leaving in its wake the welcome sense of tranquility. Yeah, now we're leaving. Suddenly, a soft feminine voice slips into your left ear. It's an unmistakable voice you heard before. Don't turn around. It's best that we don't see each other. Not yet, and perhaps not ever. My friend! You pulse quicken as you listen to the whispered directive. You're immediately aware that the whispering voice is that of the mysterious rescuer, the unknown woman who helped you escape the bandits that took you captive after the ambush on the coach. I find little time to keep up with your doings these days, whispered the voice. I'm never far. You can count on that much. Our roads continue to wander in different directions, but I think that in time they will inevitably grow closer. There remains much danger, of course, although you've just seen a bit of that. Resisting the urge to turn and face the woman, you instead ask her why she has returned. After a lengthy pause, her whisper simply slips into your right ear. I'm always watching, as much as in my own circumstances permit, whispered the voices. It's become more difficult to maintain such devoted vigilance, but was never promised an easy road. You can only guess at your importance, but even you cannot fully fathom it. I will help you out when I'm able to. Before you can question it further, the whispered voice suddenly drifts into your left ear. That place you just escaped was not expected. It seems that enemies are moving more quickly than we had guessed they would. Enemies? I wonder my own choosing of that word. Perhaps there's a term more fitting to the role, but I guess I cannot put my finger on it. Here, this is for you. I do hope you discover a use for them. You hear what sounds like something small landing on the ground behind you. After a lengthy silence, you realize the mysterious woman whom you yet lay your eyes upon is gone. Yay! You quickly turn around, your eyes scouring the surrounding forest for any sign of the unknown ally, but there's no sign of anyone to be had. Suddenly, your eyes are drawn to the black cloth pouch resting on the ground. You reach down and pick up the pouch, startled to discover that it contains a small quantity of adventurer tokens. After securing the valuable currency, you take a last look at the misty, foreboding mouth of the cave before turning and setting off through the wood, eager to return to more familiar parts of the forest. As you move through the woods, you can't help but wonder what the grim lair to which you descended after entering the cave, and what, if any, the significance of the dark place and its undead denizens might be. You also consider whether or not you'll again encounter the unknown woman who whispers, which always seems to catch you off guard, hint at a shadowy purpose yet revealed. Before covering 100 yards, you conclude that it's most likely you will. Months later, early evening, the Long Blade Ale House in Merksville. The ruckus then filling the alehouse's crowded common room is regularly punctuated by a pall of vile cursing, courtesy of the rugged band of mercenaries bound for Sryth. In conversing with several members of the loud, most jovial troop, you learn that they're seeking to enter into the service of Dame Pyrond, as he strikes to deliver a semblance of law and order to the seedy riverport. As captain of the mercenaries, a braggart named Aludrid finishes bidding your ear with an obviously exaggerated account of a battle against a score of highwaymen. He raises from the table and staggers off to fetch another flagon of the landlord's potent brew. That moment, your eyes follow the teetering mercenary's meandering path. You spot something that causes your heart to skip a beat. Seated on the table in the far side of the room, you get his gaze is fixed on you. It's a glowing blue spectre of a man clad in chainmail. The ghostly figure, his hand clutching a phantasmal flagon, smiles as he raises the vessel towards you in a respectful gesture. He then lifts the flagon to his lips and appears to drink deeply. Before you can attempt to make sense of his eerie turn of events, your eyes are drawn to the opposite corner of the room, where the ghostly figure of a robed woman leans back against a wooden pillar. She turns her head to meet you stare and smiles. Just to her left, seated in the stool in the corner, is the spectre of a hooded man, his glowing right hand grasping the hilt of a dagger tucked in his belt. He raises his head, regards you with a quizzical look, and then smiles, nodding once. The approaching heavy footfalls from behind you makes you instinctively pivot in your chair to face the sound. The apparition gliding up to you is that of a woman you met here many months ago. What? The ghostly woman floats to the edge of the table and looks down at you smiling. She waves her arms across the room, and you follow her sweeping gesture, shocked as your eyes fall upon dozens of glowing apparitional figures tucked into the throngs that fill the alehouse common room. Each of the spectral figure turns and looks in your direction, and even Narcissus looks you with a friendly gesture. You come to a sudden realization that you seem to be the only person present who sees the spirits. One by one, and as abruptly as they appear, the spectral figures begin to vanish, leaving behind only a faint, rapidly dissipating mist of blue sparks to mark the passing. The ghostly woman hovering before your table, the last of the spirits that disappear, nods and waves as her glowing form slowly fades from view. With the last trace of the ghosts have vanished, you begin to scan the common room, making certain no one else takes notice of the now departed spirits. The raucous commotion in which the alehouse common room seems to be eternally embroidered continues unabated, reaffirming your notion that you alone witness the spectral throng. Are those the people that died in the cave? That's sad. Eludred, the braggart mercenary captain, whose long embellished and ultimately pointless stories could easily be considered a form of torture, returns to the table bearing 2 flagons of ale. There you are, lass, he says, shoving one of the vessels across the table. Usually he takes his seat. You need just a bit of that, because I got a real yarn for this time. Oh yeah, this time, no more bandits or goblins, though it doesn't tell that I could tell about their ilk. Talk about the risen dead, mine. Encountered him up near Port Alec several years back while rescuing a nephew of a rich merchant from a troll's cave. Legit swallows more than half the ale in his flagon, belches, and leans across the table and casts a wary gaze in the common room after continuing his more subdued tone. That's right, the risen dead old bone skeleton. Have you ever seen one? The risen sort, I mean. It's not a sight one easily forgets. Yeah, of course I have. For a moment, your thoughts return to the misty cave and coupled with the grim lair to which it led and the gruesome perils you confronted in the dark, twisting, bone-strewn corridors. As the legit prattles on, describing in detail the sound of a skeletal's hiss, you raise your flag and sip at your ale, wishing you were presently somewhere else, anywhere else, waving back amidst the untold heap of bones. Untold heaps of bone! Oh, we finished it, wow. Well, I guess it's good that I stopped when I did, because that's 22 minutes. To finish it. Let's save. Well, I want to know why some things come up in dark red. What's that about? Let's go to the trading post and sell some stuff. Wow, it's worth some good money. I can't possibly let it go for non-good money. I need to figure out it's a library. The library's ain't just a library. Everything I need and more. It's written all over your face. Yeah. Alright. You're the only one I want. I'm addicted to I don't know why I got that song in my head. Alright, we're gonna go to Talinas, gotcha. I'm gonna go to Talinas. Travel on Talinas Essential. Yeah. We're gonna go to the library. And sell these markers. 1 legendary, 24, extremely rare, 12, very rare, 8, 1 rare, 6, uncommon, 8. Oh, there's 2, so it's 4. Okay, pretty much got one of every level. Here and any others thank you and are quick to say that should you come across any Aldvarian artifacts they'd be most interested in acquiring them. You'd be the small gathering of sages and scholars well before turning and making your way out to the library. Yes, out to the library. Let's see if anything's going on with Polk. The moment your hands touch the ancient stone surround it, begins to swell and grow dim, and a bright flash of white light momentarily blinds you. An instant later, you are weightless, floating in a no discernible direction through the vast emptiness, flecked with a faint glow of thousands of tiny specks of green light. Almost as soon as the sensation has begun, it's over, and you find yourself once again at your own 2 feet in a landscape quite different than the one you. There's a lot of traveling via dark portals and darkness and teleportation and going through different dimensions. It's very interesting that there's a lot of travel in that way. Let me fix this. Yeah. You're standing in the northwest corner in the Thenurian town of Shadow Edge in the Neverall realm of Keothanor. A large statue identical to one in the forest outside Tillian stands to your right. You know that touching the statue will transport you back to the world of Sryth. No sun shines across Keothanor, but a thin greyish light seeps through the perpetual ceiling of clouds, illuminating a once glorious realm of Polk. What's going on? The meeting house serves as the base of operations for the leader of the Thenorians, Kryn Takum. Several of the town's officials, most notably members of the militia, are present here, drawing up plans for defense of Shadow Edge. All eyes are drawn to you as you enter. Kryn Takum looks up from the map spread on the table for you, him and acknowledges you with a nod. How goes the battle, disciple? He asks. Even in his final refuge, Javar seems less bleak, knowing that departed masters of Cyborg again walks among us. Okay, nothing there. We are certainly best to have a disciple walk among us again. I'm certain you shall deliver this wrong from the blight that now afflicts it. I mean, not if nobody puts me in to fight. Yeah, let's hit the patrols. Nothing. Alright. Bye. Let's go to me castle to finish off this episode. Which is where? Southeast? Yes, by Tridmore. Let's see, can we improve any? Yes, we can. Splendid, my castle's amazing. It's amazing. Alright, all upgraded. Let's store some items here. Know what these do, but we're gonna leave them. What are you chasing, candles? Alright, let's also heal me horse. Still indifferent to me. Alright, you guys. A little early, but I'm going to end the episode there. See about maybe exploring some of the taverns I visited that are adventure taverns a little bit more. Maybe next time and see how that goes. But thanks so much for hanging out and joining me. Until next time, you know what I'm going to say. Peace.